The Theogony focuses on different gods in different segments of the poem. This idea of focus is very important to understand the Theogony. The first 100 verses or so focus on the Muses. The questions we should be asking are, who are these beings, and what does this have to do with us? As conscious beings, we feel joy and pain. Our experience of life is that there are some things that make us feel better and other things that make us feel worse. We enjoy the taste of food, rest, and safety. We quickly realize that to stay alive, however, we fall into obligations. We need to eat, but also feed those who depend on us, so we need to work to get food. Our experience of life is quickly shaped into focusing for life's important necessities. Even when we have plenty to survive, we are still in the same prison of the mind, of focusing on getting more. How often do these thoughts we focus on make us forget the good things that exist all around us? We encounter suffering and our minds try to escape it. Our minds try to remember something good we have enjoyed in the past, or we imagine getting something, going somewhere, meeting someone, which will make us feel better. When we suffer, we have a natural inclination to connect with things that give us relief. When we are in a place that makes us feel worse, we yearn to be in the company of people who make us feel good. We imagine being in places that make us feel comfortable and safe. We easily delude ourselves into such imaginary scenarios that make us ignore our present suffering, making the situation worse, prolonging our suffering, and our minds grow weaker by their influence. The Muses know of our worries, of our struggles, and of our feeling trapped by our preoccupation on survival. The Muses are aware of our delusions. They know we could be a lot more than what we limit our thoughts to be. The same focus and the same imagination can change the way we live. The Muses reach out and open our minds with a way out of our mental prisons. You rustic shepherds, shame, bellies you are, not men. We know enough to make up lies, which are convincing, but we also have the skill, when we have a mind, to speak for truth. How are the Muses aware of the delusion behind our imagination? Because they rise above the primordial chaos of existence and alter their actions so that this chaos becomes a sequence that leads to beauty. This creation of beauty is approved by Zeus, who is focused on the rise of order over chaos. The Muses are not limited by space and time, because their influence extends everywhere. With the Heliconian Muses, let us start our song. They hold the great and godly mount of Helicon, and on their delicate feet they dance around the darkly bubbling spring, and round the altar of the mighty Zeus. They wash their soft skin in the horse's spring, or in Parnassos or Olmios, then dance, fair and graceful, on the mountain top and whirl their feet about. Gods are forever immersed in focus on one notion, itself changing but remaining the same, and this one notion affects their actions. This does not mean they only think of one thing, but rather, that one thing is their main focus. This focus on one notion creates a center that affects all their other thoughts. This center of attention, then, affects the actions they engage in. The Muses focus on knowledge, which leads their minds to all the branches of knowledge. Then it moves them to act by singing and dancing, inspiring the love of this knowledge to whoever thinks of them. The word museum is a temple dedicated to the Muses, and music means the work of the Muses. 9 like-minded daughters, whose one thought is singing, and whose hearts are free from care. What is knowledge? How do we know what we know? This is a question later philosophers would discuss as epistemology. We know something because we can observe it in our minds, and the way we see something determines how we know it. How do we see something abstract like knowledge? Through dimensions. For example, we could see a square, flat, one-dimensional, but by adding height, width, and length, we see it as a cube. All knowledge, then, is dimensional. There are many ways to know something. For example, learning skills to earn an income is practical knowledge, but the same action can be used to make a point for something else, as in a story or an allegory. We could use the very same scenario of working to highlight an idea, a lesson, or a principle. There is a type of knowledge, like facts, that serves to build up other knowledge. For example, mathematics is used to create architecture. This is why there are many muses, because there are many perspectives, many ways to see things, many ways to know. The muses focus on knowledge, which spreads itself into many aspects. The many are joined as one in their minds. By focusing on the muses as one, all conscious beings, from mortals to gods, experience a new way of seeing their existence. This new way of seeing fills the conscious mind with joy. This joy then transforms us to share this joy with others. We start then with the Muses, who delight with song the mighty mind of Father Zeus within Olympus, telling of things that are, that will be, and that were, with voices joined in harmony. The sweet sound flows from mouths that never tire. The halls of Father Zeus the Thunderer shine gladly when the pure voice of the goddesses is scattered forth. The echo spreads to snowy Olympus' peaks in the immortals' homes. Then, sending out unearthly music, first they celebrate the august race of firstborn gods, whom earth bore to broad heaven. Then their progeny, givers of good things. Next they sing of Zeus, the father of gods and men, how high he is above the other gods, how great in strength. Next the Olympian Muses, daughters of Zeus, who holds the aegis, sing the mighty race of giants, and they please the mind of Zeus. Some notions of focus are wider than others, including other notions under a bigger sphere of influence. For example, knowledge without memory is impossible. And so the mother of the Muses is mnemosini, meaning memory. Mnemosini is forever focused on memory, which supersedes knowledge. Mnemosini's focus allows all other beings to remember. By joining in love with Zeus, who is focused on order, Mnemosini is joined by her daughters, who can help conscious beings overcome suffering. The goddess who protects Elefthere's hills, Memory, bore them in Pieria to the father, son of Kronos, and they bring forgetfulness of evil, rest from pain. The Muses are joined by the Graces and by Eros. There is no knowledge except because it is distributed willingly through the kindness, goodwill, and love of the gods. This grace should inspire us to refocus our desire, which is merely a mechanism drawing us closer to what we love, so that we desire the knowledge of the gods. And next to them, desire and the Graces have their homes and live in happiness. With their sweet voice, they praise the laws and courteous ways of all the immortals, uttering their lovely sounds. Why is there suffering if the gods exist? How do we escape suffering? These questions will later be discussed by philosophers as theodicy and soteriology. Suffering exists because the chaos of existence is in internal conflict with itself. The gods who keep this conflict under control by releasing and shaping it also allow for suffering to end. The Muses share their existence with us so we may know there is a way out of suffering, leading to success and glory. The Muses and Apollo, he who shoots from far away, bring minstrels to the earth, and players on the lyre. Lords are from Zeus. And he is lucky whom the Muses love. His voice flows sweetly from his mouth. And when a man has sorrow newly on his mind, and grieves until his heart is parched within, if a bard, the servant of the Muses, sings the glorious deeds the men of old performed, in hymns the blessed ones, Olympian gods, at once that man forgets his heavy heart, and has no memory of any grief. So quick the Muses' gift diverts his mind. The gods are forever sharing their influence freely through grace, or charis. All we need to do is to open ourselves up and receive what emanates from their mental activity. We then reciprocate the goodwill by freeing ourselves from the notions we are trapped by sacrificing to the gods. To let go of the notions we are devoted to, and to be devoted to the gods, is the foundation of all sacrifice. Hail, daughters of Zeus, give me sweet song to celebrate the holy race of gods who live forever, sons of starry heaven and earth, and gloomy night and salty sea. What we give to the gods, we receive back even more. Focusing on the gods when we encounter suffering and conflict, joy and peace, instead of focusing on imagined scenarios, will not only free our minds from suffering, it will allow a person to master any situation, including his own self, and will also create honor and godliness to emanate from us. It is this that made Hesiod remembered till this day. And when the daughters of great Zeus would bring honor upon a heaven-favored lord, and when they watch him being born, they pour sweet dew upon his tongue, and from his lips flow honeyed words. All people look to him when he is giving judgment uprightly, and speaking with assurance. He can stop great quarrels sensibly. Wise lords are wise in this: when public harm is being done to the people, they can set things straight with ease, advising with soft words. And when a lord comes into the assembly, he is wooed with honeyed reverence, just like a god, and is conspicuous above the crowd. Such is the Muses' holy gift to man. By thinking of the Muses, we love knowledge and love putting that knowledge into action. By loving knowledge, we participate in the ongoing creation that is shaping the world.